Thank you so much. Thank you so much for clicking that button and taking advantage of this free offer that I'm having right now with the free branding 101 course. It's just going to be a few minutes, but I'm going to dive in. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty for you to completely understand what it is to brand your business, brand yourself, brand your church, whatever it is that right now you want to stand out in this digital world in which we're living in, right? And if you already have some kind of branding in mind, what to do with it, how to develop it, how where to put the logo and how to make it work for you and your business. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you again for being a part of this LKP free course. So, branding 101, why developing, promoting, and ensuring the prestige of your brand is important. That's what we're going to be talking about today because, again, we all want to make sure that we're taking advantage of our branding. So, this is what we're going to discuss really quickly in this video today. Talk a little bit about who am I? What is LKP? Branding and building your brand. Brand values. What are your brand values? Color palettes, brand logo, typography, which really means the fonts that make you stand out. Mood boards, the aesthetics of your brand. Are you fancy? Are you gold, glitter, shimmer, sparkle? Or are you neutral, calm, steady, coastal, oceans? Like what is it? You got to know the mood of your business as well. And lastly, we're going to close with an exclusive offer from LKP to you because you decided to say yes to this free online course. So I started my business before COVID hit and it has been growing rapidly ever since because I was already doing a lot of things online. And once COVID hit, I didn't have to pivot much because I was already implementing a lot of things. So there are a lot of ways to work with LKP. Number one, the branding packages that I offer for my customers, where we develop a distinctive brand identity that resonates with the values and connects with the target audience, with your target audience. And we capture the essence of your business and translate it into a visual language with logos, fonts, colors, and all of that great stuff, which is what we're talking specifically about here today. Another way to work with me is I am a social media manager. I create content for different companies, different businesses, and churches, and I examine their current social media efforts and what it is that they're doing right now and how to improve via their analytics and just creating engaging content and managing those posts and structuring them in a way that it keeps people coming for more. And of course, I also create websites and maintain them. The last way you can work with me is through simulcast productions. I allow businesses and companies to promote themselves, whether it's through church services, Bible studies, tutorials, giveaways, bingo nights. Like I do it all and I am like the behind the scenes producer. No one sees my face, but I am the one getting everybody and their live set into all the different social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, just to name a few. So that's what I do for a living. I am no longer in corporate America because this is what I do. This is my full-time job and I absolutely love it. So let's talk about building your brand. What is a branding package? A package that has to do with branding is a series of assets that establishes uniformity. And that's the key word, uniformity in your brand, okay? That no matter whether you're printing a flyer, you're doing a brochure, or you have a big banner, everything has and follows the same brand uniformity of color, fonts, symbols, etc. Okay, and this even includes everything from a series of logos, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, the variations of color palettes, your fonts, messaging, and all of that good stuff. Now, why do I need a brand for my business? Let me just tell you really quickly why you need a brand for your business. Your brand is arguably one of your organization's most important assets. Yes, let me say that again. It is one of your organization's most important assets because it gives your organization an identity. It makes your business memorable. I want people to see a symbol and say, that's Liz. If it's shiny, if it's sparkly, chances are If it has rhinestones, it's Liz, right? So it makes your brand, your business memorable and encourages customers to buy from you or people to connect with you or people to go to your church because they're connecting via your brand. So here are just a few examples of that. Let me just open this up so you can see it really good. An example, for example, what differentiates my brand, okay? What it is that I do to other people, for example. So, what differentiates our brand from the others? We offer high quality fashion. This is just an example of perhaps somebody who has a boutique. We offer high quality fashion products and services inspired by career women in the urban area, right? So, there's a statement already that's connected to their brand. Another example, how do you want to be recognized by your customers? How do you want them to describe you? Well, we would like to be described as their best friend who always has their backs in giving some fashion advice and offering them the latest and greatest products, right? Those are just examples of some questions that you need to ask yourself to understand what is your brand. What do I want my customers? How do I want them to describe me? She's a professional. She's on time. She's on point. You can always count on her. She's committed, right? Your brand, values, and things of that nature. Let's dive in just a little bit more here and see what else we can come up with here. Your brand values. Let's talk about your brand values very quickly here. Your brand values are what? These are your things like your mission statement, your vision, your commitment, your target audience. You have to know your goals. That's a totally different course. And I have a course kind of like that kind of talks about those things at the very end, which I'll tell you a little bit about so you can understand what your values are and how to master your online presence by knowing these particular things and understanding who your target audience is. Once you know that, branding is not going to be that difficult because you're going to have an idea of what it is that you want done. So let's talk about that branding process. That branding process is number one, we're going to need a color palette. You might not be about the bolds and the reds and the bright colors, and you're more neutral. This is the conversation that I like to have with my clients to be able to understand what their color scheme is. So if it's cool, it's calm, it's a business that, we're talking about life insurance or we're talking about real estate or and kind of just put a vibe. It's really a visual vibe for your brand. Then you need a logo. The logo is that this depicts your value of your business, your company, or your organization. You can make it a circle, you can make it a square, it could be a symbol, it could be letters. So it could be a symbol or it could be letters. And I love that I get to play around with what the person is envisioning, whether it's letters, how to make it weird and like really stand out for a company. And then before you leave, I'm going to show you exactly how and where to use your logo. Because there are folks that have logos and they've never used them. There are people who have paid thousands of dollars for a logo and they don't even know how to use them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that at the very end. Your font, your typography. I love to be able to share with my clients the different fonts, and I get to tell them this is your font. Your font is Buffalo. Do you see Buffalo down there at the bottom? Or Poppins, or perhaps there's just so many different bolds and fonts and scripts and things that you can, different typography that you can put as headers and subheaders and titles. And I love being able to give that to my clients. So whenever they do any print work or anything on social media, they use the exact same consistency of that font. And then the mood board is pretty much the aesthetic. That's the right word. The aesthetic reference that's usually going to be used when you're engaged in any partnership or in any event. This is your aesthetic. We all have an aesthetic. We walk around with an aesthetic. I have an aesthetic. I am very glam diva. And then I have a sister who's very bohemian. And you're not going to find her wearing the same clothes that I wear. Okay, so does that make sense? So the same way you have a personal aesthetic, your business needs to have an aesthetic as well. So have you even thought about that? Have you thought about that? Give your business an aesthetic and you'll see how much more it's going to stand out, especially on social media. So I have an exclusive offer for you. Isn't this wild? An exclusive offer. Right now, if you go online and you try to find someone who's going to help give you a branding board, which is what I call a branding board, and it's that board that allows you to see everything that has to do with your brand. And you get all of these things via email. It's going to be a logo, it's going to be your font, it's going to be the color scheme, your mood board, all of those things all in one place so that your assistant might have it, your virtual assistant might have it. Anyone who's working with you can have these things. So when they're creating, they have where to start. And that is your board. Right now, it will cost you anywhere between $500 to $700 to get someone to sit with you and go back and forth to understand and find the right logo, the right font, and that which fits you. But remember, they need to know your values. They need to have a conversation about who is your customer. Is it teenagers? Is it elderly? Is it CEOs, business people? Is it at home moms? Right? Because all of that plays a part in these boards. Does it stand out for your target audience? And I love having those kind of conversations. Those conversations, they cost you, of course. And per hour, I saw one that was $700 per hour to work on a branding board. Well, let me just show you what you're going to do with those logos when you get a logo from LKP. I will send a logo. And if you see here, I have a few logos on here. And you see those two X's? You see the two X's where it says emerge? That is a logo that perhaps someone may have sent you. And this is, I'm mentioning this because I have a lot of friends who will post logos on a quote, an image, a video. And that's what it looks like. It has that white background behind it. That is not an overlay. They did not get the logo in the proper format. You have to get the logo in a PNG format, not in a JPEG format. A PNG format will allow you to expand. Do you see the Depeche Mode up there in white? And then you see it in black down at the bottom. The black one is small. Depeche Mode Fashion is bigger in white. I was able to extend it, yet it did not lose its resolution. Do you see how it doesn't lose its resolution? It's still sharp. It's still bright. It's still pristine. It's pristine, right? No matter how big I extend it, I can make that exact logo into a really big 6x6 banner and it's not going to lose its resolution. It's not going to be pixelated because when I give my logo to clients that I create to my clients, I make sure that I give it to them in a way that they're able to expand it and still keep its prestigious, amazing look. The other thing that you see is there's one on top of it's like a picture, but this is actually a video that my husband and I do with lots of love and butter online, and we rate different restaurants. So do you see there are three logos on that image? Three. One of them is wrong, and it's that emerge one with the white square around it. It's not an overlay. How can I use my logo and put it over an image? You'll see the blue, royal blue little circle down at the bottom. That's an overlay. It's proper. You see the microphone up in the corner? Yes, that's an overlay. There's nothing white behind it. Same with the outreach, with the world. It's an overlay. It did not mess up the picture. Look at the C and the H from one of my customers. Her name starts with a C and her last name starts with an H. So CH, and I can see the water in the background. I can see the sunset in the background because it's an overlay. It's not an image over an image. Business folks, church folks, you have your church, you have your business. Do not put an image over an image. It should always be an overlay, a PNG over your. But I understand that a lot of folks, they pay for branding and they don't get the right formats for their logos. So allow me to offer you, because you've watched this video, because you've decided to take this quick 20-minute online course, let me just share with you that I offer my branding packages. My branding packages are $200. What I do for my customers is they pay me $100 and we start our very first conversation, and I start the creating process for your brand. We talk about what it is that your symbol that resonates. For example, if it's a church and they want their symbol to be a lighthouse, or they want it to be a dove, because not everybody's going to use a cross. People want to use different things, and they want to be innovative and creative. And listen, when I work with my customers, I pray for even everything that I do. I'm like, Lord, give me the creativity to give this person, this client, the right stuff that they need for their business's success, because I know that this is going to stamp their business. This is going to stamp your business. So $100 to get started. We have a conversation. I start the creating process, and then we start bouncing ideas off of each other. And I think that right there is what's really important, that we get to connect, we get to have conversations and understand each other's hearts. Like, I get to understand your heart, and then you get to understand why I did what I did and how I can tweak it and why I can't tweak it. Because sometimes there's certain things that we want to implement, but because of the format, we just can't, or because of a certain image, we just can't. And you want somebody who's going to be truthful, who's going to be real, who's going to be honest with you. When you say, this is amazing, Liz, because I love giving some options one, option two, option three, and you look at that and you say, well, I like the picture of option one, but I like the color of option two. And if I could just move this and grab this from option three and put it all together, it would be amazing. That's what I'm envisioning. And that's what we do. Once I get your stamp of approval and you're done, then you pay the final $100. And that's when I send you, once that payment is in, I send you an email with your full branding board, like you just saw a few moments ago, and all of your logos in PNG format, so that you can put it on videos, up at the top in the corner, down at the bottom. You can do all of that great stuff with your videos. So, and we want to do that. We want to do those overlays, $200, and that's what it is. Share this with somebody who might need the brand right now. Okay. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, I do have another course. Join my other course. It's called From Mic to Lens, Mastering Your Online Presence, which has gotten great reviews, which I'm so excited about. And it's only $39. $39 for 5 half-hour modules, all about social media, the platforms, what they do, what they're for, what they're targeted, who the targeted audience is, and how you can master your online presence. I even share what my office looks like, the lighting, the cameras, and everything that I use. And I share some secrets on some apps, some of my favorite apps. So right now you can click the link below in the description, or you can go to my website. It's called emergeinfaith.com. And that's where I have all of my business stuff. So you'll see it there. All right. Emergeinfaith.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this course. Makes me so excited to know that you wanted to take advantage of this amazing opportunity to know a little bit more about branding. It's time for you to stand out. It's time to brand.